Existing home sales dropped both year over year and month over month by 5.4% in June. Now, this is concerning because June is supposed to be one of the busiest months for home buyers and sellers out across the United States. The spring is typically the busiest time of the year when it comes to real estate, and June is when most of these transactions close. The transactions that went under contract in April and May, they close in June. So the fact that sales are declining not only year over year, but from May to June, when typically we'd see that increase because more people are putting homes under contract, is not a welcoming sign for the real estate market. Now, this is leading many to believe that we're slowly starting to enter a buyer's market. And I would say across the United States, that appears to be what's happening. We are slowly starting to enter a buyer's market. I know here in Vermont, where I work, um, there things are shifting and they're shifting relatively quickly. Now, it is still a seller's market and it's a seller's market across the country when we take a look at the month supply, meaning the ratio between buyers and sellers, but things are changing. I do think that we are at the top of the housing market right now, that we're not going to see the median sales price continue to grow. That being said, I do not think it's going to be a peak and then a sharp decline. I think it's going to plateau. Maybe it'll be a little up, a little down, but we're not going to see home prices shoot up in either direction. But we're going to take a look at all that data here in this video. Before we get into it, my name is Liam O'Reilly. I mentioned I'm a realtor in Vermont. If you have any real estate needs in Vermont or anywhere else, reach out to me directly. I would be happy to help you. And let's get into this article. So it's out of the National Association of Realtors. It says here, existing home sales slipped 5.4%. Median sales price jumps to record high of 427,000. So I mean, basically, people are having a tough time affording these homes, right? The prices are at all-time highs. Interest rates sit at around 6.5 to 7%. Now, they say that they dropped slightly in June to about 6.77% compared to, 6.8 or around 7% where they were in May and this time last year. And I expect that mortgage rates will start to come down, which will help affordability and bring more buyers into the market. But at least right now, there's not many buyers putting homes under contract, and this is all while inventory is growing. As we take a look at the article here, we see that existing home sales, and so now this is not new construction, this is the resale market. These are not builders bringing homes to the market. These are sellers, owners of homes who are listing and selling their property. Receded 5.4% from May to a seasonally adjusted rate of 389 million in June, which is down 5.4% from 411 million. Under 4 million home sales across the United States is not much. There's not many sales going on if there's less than 4 million sales happening across the United States. And we see here the chief economist at the National Association of Realtors says we're seeing a slow shift from a seller's market to a buyer's market. Homes are sitting on the market for a bit longer and sellers are receiving fewer offers. I mean, that's certainly what we're seeing here in Vermont as well. More buyers are insisting on home inspections and appraisals, and inventory is definitely rising on a national basis. It is rising, and the tides are starting to shift, albeit they haven't shifted yet, but we are seeing things starting to move. Now, total housing inventory at the end of June was 1.32 million units, up 3.1% from May. So this is inventory, and it's up 23.4% from a year ago. Now, this is total housing inventory, so this is not just existing homes. These are new homes as well. And when we take a look at the new home data later in this video, you'll see that new homes across the country are also up and sitting for longer. Unsold inventory sits at a 4.1 month supply. The current sales pace is up from 3.7 months in May and 3.1 months in June of 2023. The last time unsold inventory posted a 4-month supply was in May of 2020 at 4.5 months. May of 2020, we were just coming out of the pandemic. People were scared to jump into the real estate market. So the fact that we are getting back to those levels, honestly, it's a great sign for buyers out there. And it really shows that things are shifting. Now, if you don't know what month supply of inventory is, essentially it's just a ratio of home buyers to the inventory that's on the market, meaning how long, if no additional homes hit the market, how long would it take for the existing buyers out there to purchase all of that inventory based on the number of homes that are going under contract? And so they're saying it's going to take 4.1 months to eat up all of the existing inventory at the current rate at which buyers are putting properties under contract. Of course, there's going to be new inventory coming to the market, so we're never going to run out of inventory. But the larger the larger that month supply is, the higher that number is, the more of a buyer's market it is. And the lower that number is, the more of a seller's market we're in. And so the fact that that's rising shows that we are starting to enter into a buyer's market. Now, this primarily has to do with existing homes. And when we take a look at the existing home breakdown, we see that home prices, they declined in every section of the United States. With the Northeast, they were only down 2.1%. So the Northeast, where I am here in Vermont, home sales are down from May, but they're not down significantly, and they're down about 6% year over year, which is pretty significant. And of course, we've seen a huge jump in the sales price, 9.7% across the Northeast as a whole. Now it's a little lower here in Vermont from the year over year numbers, but still a significant price increase. And we see that throughout most of the country, actually throughout every region in the country. We see existing home sales decreased, median sales price increased. Now, the South and the West, I think, saw things a little bit worse than some of the other parts of the country. Now, the South slid 5.9% from May to an annual rate of 1.76 million, down 6.9% from a year before, and the median sales price was only up 1.7% compared to 9.7 in the Northeast. And then the West is pretty similar, with where the median sales price is only up 3.5%, and sales only declined by 2.6%. So there's still a reasonable amount of transactions taking place, but we're not seeing this massive increase like we're seeing in the Northeast. Now, when we take a look at the month supply of new homes on the market, that's what this chart shows, the month supply of new houses. So these are new construction homes that builders are bringing to the market. Now, something to note is that this accounts for all homes that are listed for sale. These are not homes that are already completed. These are homes that are either completed, under construction, or construction hasn't even started yet, but they're for sale on the market. You can purchase it and maybe pick your build package, which we see that a lot around here in Vermont. But we see the month supply of new inventory, meaning the demand, the rate at which these new homes are going under contract compared to how many properties there are, how many new properties there are on the market, is at 9.3, which is well into what people would consider a buyer's market for new inventory specifically. Now, the biggest thing that this data shows is that there's going to be less building moving into the future, right? If conditions aren't favorable for people to bring homes to the market, then homes aren't going to be built. Builders are not going to build those properties. And overall, I think that's a bigger issue for the housing market. And that's part of the reason why homes are so expensive, is because there's not enough homes. We have more people who want to purchase properties than there are properties available for sale, and more inventory, more building would help alleviate some of that stress across the overall market. But the fact that the new home market is so out of balance is a sign that less building will take place in the future. Now we see here, they talk about this 9.3 number that I just mentioned. And they mention here that it can be misleading because only 21% of the new home inventory in May comprised of standing inventory, or homes that are complete, that have completed construction. So, those are homes that sellers want to get, or that builders want to get rid of the fastest, because they've already invested money into them. They've spent money on labor. They spent money on materials. The home is ready to go. They want to get that sold and move on to their next project. Now, the homes that aren't even started yet, those properties have a little bit more flexibility to them, right? The builder could choose not to build that property, not to make that investment. So even though there's 9.3 months supply, it's a little bit misleading because not all of those homes are even started yet. Now, when they take a look at, then they mention the month supply, and the month supply of just existing inventory sits at 3.6%. So if you took out the new inventory, single family homes, the month supply would be 3.6%, which is still low. It's still a seller's market for existing inventory. When you add in the total inventory across the country, including those new homes for sale, we see the month supply is at 4.1 months. So up a little bit. Now, a balanced market, they mention in this article from the National Association of Home Builders, is between 5 to 6 months. I've heard between 4 to 6 months. So we're really starting to enter a balanced market, and the higher that month supply starts to rise, the more balanced the market will be. So, the fact that inventory, or that closed sales, were down in June, especially compared to May, that month over month data is a sure tell sign that things are changing in the housing market, that there's less buyers out there really, really across the country. And I know on this channel, I am positive and I do have a, an optimistic outlook about sales prices because I don't think we're going to see the inventory that we saw back in 2008 to 2012 that brought prices down significantly. And when you look at the dynamics with existing mortgages that are held by the homeowners out there, I think it's very unlikely that we're going to see mass inventory come to the market, which will cause prices to plummet. That being said, I do think we are at the top of the housing market right now, that this peak in median sales price is about as high as we're going to get. And we might see it, fluctuate down or up slightly, but we're not going to see it start to shoot up like we've seen in years past. Now, the one caveat is if rates drop fast and the Federal Reserve starts buying up mortgage-backed securities and mortgage rates fall, then things could change quickly. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.